Hello everyone, happy Tuesday and happy Valentine's Day. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Grossa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am all about the amazingly versatile Enjoy the Journey suite from the Stampin' Up! January to April mini catalog. Now, this is a suite that on first glance, I'm just going to back up because I feel like the camera's right in my face here. On first glance, it may seem like this is just a masculine kind of suite. It's got lots of outdoor adventure type images and mountains and scenery on the DSP. However, it's really possible to do some lovely, more feminine cards as well with this suite. So it is, I think, probably the most versatile suite in the mini catalog. And I had a great play with it this weekend. In fact, I couldn't stop. I just kept creating. So I've got lots of samples to share with you. We're going to make 3 today, but I got some more to show you. And I'm going to show you the suite so you can see all the pieces in it. And the best part is that right now, until the end of February, so we've got, so we got 2 more weeks during celebration, is that you can earn the DSP from this suite free with a $60 qualifying order here in Canada. So it's fantastic DSP. I'm going to show it to you so you get to see it. And I think you will agree that it is, even if you don't want any of the outdoor scenery patterns, it's got fabulous patterns on the reverse side, which are perfect for any occasion. So anyway, let's pull up the video here on the iPad and see who's joining me on this Valentine's Day. Here we go. All right, we've got Linda and Krista and Laura. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Jean. Welcome. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Comment, let me know what you're doing or if you bother with Valentine's Day. We don't make a big deal of it in this house. You can probably see some chocolate on the table behind me. That's for my husband and son. I honestly kind of forgot about Valentine's Day. So I quickly hit the grocery store on the way home and grabbed some of their favorite chocolate. And of course they're getting, I always make them a handmade card. So they're getting some fun cards made with the Love Cats stamp set. Some of the ones that I demonstrated in my video a couple of weeks ago. So comment below, let me know what you do for Valentine's Day or if you are marking it in any way. And I love reading your comments. And I always try to either like or respond if I can to comments. So I really appreciate the comments and the likes and the shares. They are so very much appreciated. All right, so let me do the old flipperoo here. We're going to get to it. I'm going to show you the suite and we'll get to some stamping. Okay, so give me a sec. Got lamps in the way. We'll have to get that one out of the way. Here we go. And we're a little saggy, so we'll move this up so you can see it in all its glory. There we go. Absolutely nothing, Jill. Oh dear, Linda, you're not getting me. Okay, well, be sure to watch the replay. Sometimes just exiting Facebook and coming back may work for you. You order pizza. Yeah, today's Takeout Tuesday for us every day because I'm busy doing my live with you guys. Normally when I would be cooking dinner, so it's always takeout day on Tuesdays for me. All right, so here it is. Here's the suite in the catalog. It's on page 58 and 59. It's got a lovely, colorful layout, and that's because this DSP is so bright and beautiful. So let me show you all of the products included in the suite. We'll set these out of the way to start. So here is our bundle. Okay, so stamp set and dies, fantastic die set. So if you have someone who is an outdoor lover in your life, this is a must-have. So we've got the BMX, we've got a runner, we've got a hiker, we've got tent for camping, and then we've got clouds and a moon to create a scene, and then we've got some open stamps that coordinate with the dies. And I have to confess, I totally missed that we had a floral stamp in the stamp set. I didn't even look that closely at it in the catalog, honestly. I just ordered it and put it on my shelf thinking I would get to it eventually. And I pulled it out and I went, oh my goodness, that's a beautiful stamp. And look, there's a die to cut it out. Had no idea. So we're going to use that actually on the first card because it's so pretty. So really fun, kind of funky fonts in this set, and some very inspirational ones appropriate for graduation, retirements, new job, all of those sort of big life moments that we sometimes have a hard time making cards for. So lots of possibilities with this set. That brings me to the fabulous DSP. Look at the colors in this paper. So fantastic. Now, I love bright colors. That's what I gravitate to. And this paper is just chock full of them. So we've got this gorgeous sort of mountain sunset. So you can do like a pink one or an orangey one. And then same idea, but in the purples and the greens. And then this one's a little bit more detailed. Okay, so again, we can cut our paper. You got, if you're doing 4 by 5 1/4, you can cut 3 4-inch wide strips, and you get this beautiful ombre in the middle. And then we have this beautiful sky, some evergreen trees, and then we've got another mountain scene. Now, then when I flip these over, so if you're not into these sort of outdoorsy kind of scenes, when we flip over, we get these awesome patterns. So we've got sort of, this almost looks like a tapestry pattern. We've got some stripes. We've got some fun diamonds, triangles. We've got a herringbone. We've got beautiful starry sky. And then another herringbone. So really fun, bright colors, bright patterns that don't necessarily have to be like outdoorsy, okay? So fabulous paper. Love the bright colors. So many possibilities with that paper. All right. In addition, of course, we have embellishments. So this suite has some fun embellishments. I love me some baker's twine. If you've watched my videos for anything like the time, you know I use lots of twine. And this 3-pack of baker's twine is part of the suite. So you get pumpkin pie, garden green, and coastal cabana in the pack if they all come together. And of course, they coordinate with the DSP. And then we have these fabulous enamel sticker icons. So I'll pull these out because we're actually going to use these on a couple projects today. So you actually get, how many do you get in here? You get 64. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's what? 8, 16 on a sheet. So you get 4 sheets of these. All right. So you get loads. And honestly, most of us would only use 1 on a card. So that's going to do you. That pack is going to last you a while. And the other cool thing is that these icon images here coordinate with the He's the Man suite from the annual catalog. So they will work with more than just this suite. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave these close at hand because we're going to use them. And we're going to get to some stamping. Oh, Linda, you're back. Okay. I'm glad it's working for you now. All right, so the first card we're going to do is this one. I mentioned we were going to start with that beautiful floral stamp. I posted this yesterday, and honestly, I was shocked when I discovered the flower stamp in this set. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it because you'd think I would know the products that I'm buying, but clearly I'm not paying very much attention. So we're going to start with some of the DSP. So this is actually all from the same sheet. Okay, so these are all pieces from, I cut the sheet to 4 inches by 12, and then I cut it down. So I started with a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece, and I used one of the dies, this die here. It's kind of like it creates a rock face or a mountain, okay, or a cliff. And I used that to cut the edge of my DSP to kind of create something a little bit interesting there, okay. Then we have a strip. Again, same pattern, I just flipped it over. This was actually left over from the piece that I cut. That's going to go across there. And then this piece is going to go behind. And the best part of this ombre pattern is you get different shades, right? So even though this is cut from the same sheet, by putting it behind there, I get a contrasting color, which is kind of fun. All right, so we're going to stamp on this die cut one. So I'm going to pull out my floral stamp, and I'm just stamping in Memento Black. Hi, Deborah from Sydney. How are you? I hope you are having a good day. I think it's probably tomorrow morning there compared to us. Tomorrow morning, is it the 15th, morning of the 15th there? I think it is. I always lose track of how to do the dates when we're chatting with our Australian friends. All right, so I'm inking up my stamp in the Memento Black, and then I'm going to stamp this fairly close to the top because I want to see as much of that image as possible when I add all my other pieces. So I'm going to stamp this fairly close. I'm not going to do any coloring because this is beautiful ombre paper. I don't need to, right? It's pretty easy to stamp and just leave it stamped plain. Okay, so there's my DSP. Now we have our strip that we're going to add here. Before we do that, we're going to add some bits and pieces of die cuts. So on another part of the same sheet, I have stamped and die cut that same floral image, okay? And then I have a whole bunch of these little sort of sprigs here that I've die cut. I've done several in black and several in the shimmer, fine shimmer gold, okay? So what I'm gonna do here is take my snips and trim down. Okay, Wednesday the 15th. All right, I did do it right. Happy Valentine's, happy belated Valentine's Day, Deborah. All right, so I just want sort of this part of the image. I'm not going to use this here. I'm going to use it to decorate my little sentiment there. So I'm just going to kind of take and cut around this image. We're going to clean it up in a sec, but it is really easy to kind of cut these apart and use them as individual floral images rather than the whole big one, okay? So I'm just going to clean these up a little bit where I've trimmed it so it's a little smoother. And then one more down here. There we go. Okay, so then that is going to tuck in. I'm going to actually glue this down fairly close. I'm going to kind of cover up this part of the image, so it's almost like a reflection of the image in behind. All right, so that's going to get stuck down right about there. Now, before I stick all these pieces on, or this piece on, I'm going to tuck in several of my little sprigs here. So I'm just kind of arranging them wherever I think looks good. They're just kind of peeking up from behind our colorful image here. I like the little pop of gold. I just feel like it kind of takes it to a new level. This fabulous shimmer paper is pretty darned awesome. So they're just going to kind of be peeking out like that. So what I'm going to do now, I've kind of placed them where I sort of want them. And I'm going to pick this up. I'm going to take my seal. I'm going to add some seal to the back of my die cut here. My seal's almost empty, so it's not being very cooperative. And then I'm just going to kind of plunk it back where I had it. And that's going to kind of pick up all those little die cut bits. See? It's stuck. They're not going anywhere. And we're good to go. Okay, quick and easy way to glue all those little bits down. So then we're going to take and add our DSP strip. So it's going to go on about 1/4 inch up from the bottom. This is, what, 1.5 inches by 4. So we'll go ahead and add that layer. Right about there. And again, I like to use my grid paper to help me get all my bits and pieces straight. Okay, now we're going to layer this. So I have here a piece of basic black cardstock. It's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So what's going to happen is this piece is going to get layered here, and I actually kind of like it black at the top too. I find that really quite dramatic. But we're going to be true to our sample, and we're going to add this other piece that we cut again from the same DSP. There it is, same pattern. We're going to glue that so that we have an equal border all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one just because it's a little bit smaller and we can kind of wiggle it in before we add the larger one. So I'm just going to add a bit of glue here. And I'm going to tuck this in and get that stuck on so that I have an equal border on 3 sides. Okay, then I can flip this one over and add my glue. I'm almost out of Tombow here. Time for a new bottle. And then we're going to pop this one on. And I'm just going to take care to line up the edges so that I have an equal border and that these edges line up. Okay? And there's my pretty card front. Isn't that great? Easy peasy. All right, now we're going to stamp our sentiment. So I have here a stitched rectangle cut from white cardstock, just regular old basic white. And I'm going to ink up, I'm so inspired by your courage, which is a lovely sentiment. And I'm going to stamp this towards the right end of my rectangle here because I need room for my twine. Okay, so that's stamped there. Hi, Judy. Happy Valentine's Day. Hi, Joyce. All right, so there we go. Now to add our twine, we're going to do our little twine trick. So I'm going to add a glue dot to the back of my label here. And I'm going to take one end of my twine and press it in. And then we're going to wrap it around. I'm going to crisscross it. Okay, so that's kind of an X. And then again, stick the end in that same glue dot to secure it. Oh, come here, you. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to add our bow, but we're going to do that after we stick this down. All right, so that is going to go on there, but I wanted to add a little bit of the floral to decorate my sentiment. So I'm going to take and cut this little bitty piece off. And we're going to use sort of these, I don't know, they look almost like bluebells, or I don't know. I don't know what kind of flower these are. I'm going to trim off most of the stem. Okay, so this is going to be peeking out just sort of from behind my label there. So I'm going to actually add a little bit of seal to the bottom of my flower. And we're going to kind of tuck that in so it's peeking out just like that. And then I've got a couple more little sprigs here that we're going to add, peeking out behind that. So there's a black, and I think I might do the gold kind of going up that way this time. A little different. A little bit more seal, a little bit of gold. We're going to trim off the stem because it's a little on the long side. There we go. And then that is going to go on just like that. So we're going to pop it up. A couple of dimensionals. Should do the trick. We'll put one kind of on there to hold that all secure. And then that is going to go on right about there, hopefully straight. Okay, now I may just tuck a mini actually, in under my flower there, just so that that stays put where I want it. We'll get rid of our backing. Come here, you. There we go. Okay, and then that is going to get stuck down onto our card base. I use Melon Mambo. Haven't used that color in a while, but I love it. Foxglove, yes, Laura, that's probably what it is. You are right. 4 1/4 by 11 inches is my card base, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So we'll just fold that in half along our score line. I knew all you gardener people watching would help me out. We're going to add a little bit of seal here and pop this on. And the black layer just sets it, makes it pop, right? Having that little hint of black just makes the whole thing sort of pop. All right, now we're going to tie a bow with our twine. So when I tie a bow with twine, I just make a loop, and then I have a nice long tail. I wrap it around and pull it through. I don't really tie a big clunky knot. I don't do my bunny ears trick with the twine, because otherwise I end up with a really chunky knot in the middle, and I don't like that. So I didn't bring my ribbon scissors over, but we'll just make do. And then I'm going to take a glue dot, roll it up, and I'm going to put it right where my twine crosses on the label there, and then press the knot, make the bow a little bit smaller. I'm going to press the knot of my bow into my glue dot, just like that, and then we'll trim off our tails nice and tidy. Okay, and then the last touch is some of my very favorite embellishments. If you've been paying attention for the last 6 weeks, you've seen me use these pretty much every week. I'm going to add some of my adhesive backed pastel sequins. I'm going to tuck one in. Now I'm going to put one down here. And then we'll tuck one up here. And another one. Come here, you. Tuck another one over here. Oh, yeah. No, we'll put it up here. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Now, on the inside of this one, I added a white panel. I stamped the floral image again, and then I added the "We're in this together." So I thought this would be a great sentiment, maybe to send, or great card to send to someone who is maybe dealing with a medical diagnosis that isn't particularly favorable, or is going through a difficult time. I thought that would be a really lovely, inspirational card to send. Okay, now on my sample, I also did a little bit of winky winky. I just did a bit of flicking to add a little bit of shimmer. Didn't bring that over, so I can't do that right now, but you get the idea. Okay, all right, so that is number 1 done. Let's move on. Number 2. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the black really pops, doesn't it? It does. Okay, so number 2 is this really simple book fold. I often do book folds landscape, but it's kind of fun to do a portrait one. A little bit different. It's actually just a little bit narrower. So I'm going to show you a score from a standard card base. So 4.5 card base scored at 4.25. So I'm just going to put this, my left edge, in at 3.25. Okay, that's fine for my book. It's so easy to make a book fold. Well, minimal extra. Okay, so to fold it, we're going to fold in half just like we. Okay, and a fold back. Okay, and that's going to give us our book. Some decorating and whatnot. And then, all right, so this is going to come together super quick. Piece of that gorgeous DSP. I love the moonrise. So this is cut 5 3/8. We're going to stamp directly on the DSP, and I know that makes, I didn't actually mount. Let's grab that stamp. Grab a block. All right, so there we go. This moment is the start of something great. I thought for retirement, frozen. I have a feeling that I am. Okay, there we go. I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Anybody else? Message. So I'm not. I think I might stop and restart, you guys. I'm going to pick up from this card, but I am a little worried. Oh, there we go. I think I'm back. I think. All right. Can you give me a little heads up and let me know if you can actually see and hear me, you guys? It looks like it's kind of wonky. Okay, I'm intermittent in Calgary. All right. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Okay, I think we're back in business. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi here, but if it's too hard to follow, ladies, I will post the replay. My phone does keep recording, so hopefully we'll get the whole video and I'll be able to edit out the parts that are wonky. Okay? All right. Let's hope that we're good. So I have my DSP. Again, it's 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. I'm going to stamp my sentiment in black once again. Okay, we're back. All right, Sharon, thanks for letting me know. We're good. Okay, long may it last. We'll keep our fingers crossed. I got too much else to show you. So we're going to stamp this in the upper left corner, just in the black Memento ink. Okay, and that is almost it for stamping on this card. We're going to add some grass down at the bottom. So there is a grass image in the stamp set. So I'm going to stamp that in Garden Green, which is the same green that is in the DSP. So we're going to stamp the grass a few times along the bottom, and I like to vary the length. So I'm kind of doing it longer on the sides and then a little bit shorter, sort of in the middle. I may do a little bit more there. Okay. And that's it for stamping on this one. Like, it's so easy. Now, to decorate the rest of this card, we're going to add our little hiker here. So this guy is actually cut, or gal, could be, is cut from black cardstock, but I've used some adhesive sheets on the back, and that makes this super quick and easy to stick down. So I'm just going to peel off my backing, get rid of that one little bit in there. Okay. All right. Deborah's good too. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Rogers these days. All right, so I'm going to pop my little hiker on here, just down the bottom. I just want to make sure it's right at the bottom of my DSP. I don't want it to be a floating hiker, okay? No levitating hikers today. And then these little clouds are die cut just from white cardstock. There are several cloud dies in the die set. So I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue. And our clouds are going to kind of be going off the edge. Now, the thing about these clouds is they have a flat bottom, so we want to make sure they're relatively straight when we stick them on. They look a little funny when they have flat bottoms if they're not straight. So we're just going to add these two little clouds here. All right. Seems I'm good to go now. That's good. That makes me happy. All right. I didn't want to spend my evening having to edit video. That would not have been good. So I'm just going to take and trim off the overhanging clouds, and there we go. How easy is that? Now that is going to get stuck onto the front of my card base here, just like that. So we'll add a little bit of liquid glue. And we're going to pop this on. Just a narrow little border all the way around. So I'm focusing on the 3 cut edges rather than the scored part. Okay, I just want to make sure that is even. Okay, and then I have another little strip. This is 7/8 by 5 3/8. So it's actually this piece or this piece of the mountain. No, I think it's this piece. Yeah, cut that off there. And I'm going to flip it and I'm going to put that on the spine. Okay, I love the reverse patterns on this paper. So being able to use both sides is a bonus. So we're going to go ahead and add this. Hi, Peggy. Welcome. I'm glad you could join me live. It's nice to see your name come up. Happy Valentine's Day. So we're going to pop that on like that. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in some of my Garden Green Baker's Twine. And we're going to do the same basic trick that we did on the last card, just a little bit longer. So I'm going to take a glue dot. I'm going to stick it to the back of my spine part here, if it wants to stick. There we go. And then I'm actually going to fold my twine in half to get a double thickness. Just makes it faster and easier. So we're going to stick that end into the glue dot. I'm going to bring it down the full length of the card, but I'm going to crisscross them as I go. Okay. Then I'm going to turn this off because this is going to be in my way. Then we're going to add another glue dot, the opposite end. And we're going to bring our twine around and stick that nice and secure. So you do want to pull it fairly snug so that, you know, it's not kind of flopping. You want your twine to be nice and snug. Okay, and there's my crisscross. Now that I've got my twine on, I can go ahead and glue this spine shut. So I'm going to add some liquid glue here. I find the liquid glue is nice and strong whenever I'm doing fun folds. It's great stuff. So we're going to just close that up, burnish that well. Make sure it's stuck nice and secure. Okay, and that gives us our book fold. All right, now we're going to add a bow, but first we're going to move our crisscross where the actual point that it crosses up, because I want it to be up near the sentiment to kind of draw attention to the sentiment. So a way to make sure it stays where I want it is to take my glue dot and my take your pick, and I'm basically just going to lift up my twine and tuck a glue dot in underneath and stick it there. And that way it's going to stay crisscross where I want it. Okay, now we're going to tie a bow. This one can be a little bit bigger, so I'll make my loops a little larger. Same technique as I did on the last one. So we'll make our pretty little bow and pull our knot nice and tight. Oh, you're welcome, Deborah. I have all kinds of little tricks to save to save on product. I don't like wasting twine and ribbon on the back of a card or on the inside where nobody sees it. So I'm a big fan of finding tricks to avoid wasting. So again, I'm going to take my little glue dot here. I'm going to put it right over top of the one that I stuck down to hold my crisscross in place. And then I'm going to press my bow into that. And the great thing about doing it this way too is my bow holds its shape, because I can actually press the bow into the glue dot and keep my bow exactly the way I want it. Okay, now we're going to add one of those fun little icons. So there are lots of them in this pack. I like the little arrows, and I actually like them going forwards or sideways. I kind of think when you're like making a decision about a journey, I kind of like the idea of it going like, do I go straight or do I go left? Do I go right? Which way do I go? So I'm going to turn it from the way it's displayed on the sheet here and have it that way. Okay, now I'll just show you quick on the inside. I added a white panel, so this is the exact same size as this one. So it was 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, and then some more grass and a fun wishing you joy in this next adventure, which could be anything, right? So a great idea for retirement, like I said, graduation, new job, just next chapter in life, whatever that may be. Okay. All right, moving on. I got yet another fun fold for you today, but they're easy fun folds. So this one is a spanner card. You've probably seen them. There's lots and lots of tutorials out there on them, and I've made them several times in my videos before. But as soon as I saw that sort of mountain die cut, I knew I wanted to do this idea and have the mountain be my, my sort of span here. So it opens like this, and then it opens like that. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. You probably already know, but I'm going to show you anyway for those who are new, just in case. Oh, can't lose my little walking stick here. Let's get that out of there. All right, so again, I'm starting with just a regular old black card base, just like the last card, exactly the same. Okay, so 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. No different at all. I'm going to bring back my trimmer. And I'm actually going to move this so that the bottom is in the view of the camera. At least I hope it is. Oh, am I frozen again? Oh, no, I think I'm back. Okay. I don't know whether it's my old crappy iPad or it's the actual live stream feed. Deborah, the DSP is Enjoy the Journey. It is one of the add-on celebration freebies that started in February. So you can actually get the DSP free with a qualifying celebration order. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take my standard regular card base. I'm going to put it into my trimmer, and I'm actually using the ruler on the right of my cutting track. I'm going to put it in at 1 1/4, and I'm going to cut from the bottom. Let's get our scoring blade out of the way, up to that score line, up to the 4 1/4 mark. Now it's really hard to see the measurements on here, so I just kind of eyeball it. So I just kind of put my finger where the score line is, so I kind of know when to stop. So I'm going to cut all the way up to that score line. I want you to go a little further. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to flip this around. This time I'm going to use the top, just because I don't have to rotate anything. And again, I'm going to put it into 1 1/4, and I'm going to cut down from the top to my score line again. So all the way down to right about there. Oh, a little bit more. It's hard to see when you can't look straight down. There we go. Okay, and that's all there is to it. It's nothing super fancy, these fun folds. So for those of you who are maybe newer to stamping or not super confident about doing fancy measurements and cuts, these are 2 really quick and easy fun folds. All right, so now I'm just going to take and fold my card base in half, just like I normally would. Now I like to just kind of take my time and make sure all my edges line up, because once we have cut them, they tend to go a little wonky if we're not careful. So I'm just going to take and line these all up, make sure I get a nice smooth edge at the bottom. And then we're going to bring in our DSP. So I haven't cut this yet because I wanted to show you what I did to get that sort of continuous view. Okay, so this is just what was left when I cut this. Okay, so I'm going to bring back my trimmer, and I need a piece that is starting here. It's going to be 1 1/8, I think. I'm going to double check that. Yes, 1 1/8 by 5 3/8. This is, or sorry, 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, this is already cut to 4 1/8 wide. Okay, so I'm going to measure this to 1 1/8. Okay, and cut. And then this section, I think, is 2 7/8. Yes, it is. So I'm going to continue across 2 7/8. Okay, and then finally another 1 1/8. So there we go. Make sure it's straight, and we're good to go. Okay, this piece is scrap, but we'll save it for another project. I'm sure I can find a way to use that. All right, so that gives us that continuous image to put across the front of our card. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to glue them all on, just with some liquid glue. Oh, that's a smart idea, Deborah. I usually can see when I'm cutting any color other than black. It's just the black that is problematic, and I just kind of eyeball it. I don't know. I'm okay with eyeballing. But that's a good idea to add that. Just a piece of white tape would even work. Very smart idea. So I'm just going to take and glue these on all the way across the front of my card here. So just taking time to make sure my edges line up and they're nice and straight and even. Oops, don't want to stick that guy down. And then a little bit of glue here for this last one. Okay, so then we get that sort of continuous look with that scenery in the background. Okay, easy peasy. Oh, you know what? I forgot. we were supposed to add, let's peel this up. I'm too busy, distracted by Deborah and her bright ideas. Not your fault, Deborah. Entirely operator error. We need to add our cliff. So this guy is actually going to tuck in under here. It's going to, let me move this so you can see. It's going to glue flush. So this piece is cut to 4.5, and then 4.5 inches by, I think it was 2. And then I use that funky cliff die again to cut it. All right. Then I heat embossed in white. Now I'm just going to try and pry this end up real quick before it sets to get that underneath there. We'll see if we can do it. I think we can. Look at that. We can do it. All right. So I'm going to glue this. This end is going to get glued flush with the bottom left corner of my card front. Okay. And then the DSP is going to get stuck down to hide that. Yep. This is why I should not talk and stamp at the same time. It's dangerous. So we're going to tuck that guy in there. Okay. And then this little guy is going to tuck in under this end. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue right there. And we're going to tuck that in. Whew, glad I caught that before the glue sets. That could have been, well, we would have had to improvise. But sometimes improvising is a good thing. We can come up with some pretty cool alternatives. So we're going to go ahead and stick that DSP back down now to cover up the edges of our little mountain here. That'll be cool. All good. Spanner opens. Whew, saved it. All right. See, I told you, if there's a mistake to be made, I have made it. That's why I have so many solutions when people make mistakes. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to add our hiker, but this time you'll notice my hiker on the last card had a lantern. There it is. But this time we have this walking stick. So we're just going to take and trim off the lantern from out of our hiker's hand here. So I'm just taking my snips. Okay. Now, I did not put adhesive sheets on the back of this because I want my card to open, right? So we're just going to stick our hiker down just by his feet. All right. Now, before we do that, we're going to stick the tiniest little bit of glue to add the walking stick to his hand or her hand. So I'm just going to add just a smidge there. That's probably too much, but that's okay. We're just going to press that into place. Okay, and then that is going to get stuck on there again with a teeny tiny little smidge of glue. So a little bit on the tip of the stick. And then he's kind of standing on the summit there, like that. Okay, so I didn't put any glue behind the body of the walker or hiker because it has to open, right? Okay, important note there. All right, we're going to add some clouds. So these are the 3 different size clouds that are cut with the dies. I'm not sure how well it shows up against the white grid paper. So we're going to just kind of arrange these. So 2 of them are going to be stuck to this left panel of our spanner card, and then this larger one's going to kind of go in the middle. All right, so we just want to take care when we're gluing these that we're only putting glue where they're going to adhere to the panel. Oh, I put that on the wrong side. See? You guys. Talking and stamping. Bad combo. All right, let's stick this down there. That'll be cool. And then we're going to add this one with my very sticky fingers now. That one's going to kind of overlap and go there. Okay, and then I'm actually going to lift this up to stick this guy on. So this one's going to get glue all the way across because it's going to be stuck to that center panel right about there. Whoops, don't you move. Stay put. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way to make sure those guys are straight because crooked clouds kind of bug me. There we go. Now it's better. And that one is also a bit crooked, so we'll see if we can straighten him out. There we go. And then we're going to add one of the little compass icons. So that's going to kind of tuck in behind. So when the card is closed, you just sort of see it peeking out. But then when you open the spanner, there it is. There's our compass. Okay. And then on the inside, we're going to do a little bit of stamping. And I realized I forgot to bring, I did do a little bit of ink blending with the garden green ink at the bottom here. I forgot to bring my blending brush over. So we'll just stamp some trees and call it a day. Okay. So I'm going to bring in, this is another stamp from the stamp set. It's these evergreen trees, and there is a die that cuts them out as well. So I'm going to stamp them just along the bottom edge at varying heights. Okay, so I've done 2 full strength, then I'm going to stamp off and add some stamped off. And that just creates the illusion of depth when we're creating sort of a forest. Okay, now it's bugging me that that one tree is floating, so we're just going to fill that in. There we go. Okay, so I did do, like I said, a little bit of ink blending before I stamped, but it looks fine without it too. Totally works. So we're going to go ahead and stick that inside our card. Quick little bit of glue. And we'll pop that in. There we go. Okay, and that's our finished card. So a really simple, fun fold. I didn't make it look simple by forgetting to add my spanner before I stuck the DSP down, but it actually is really simple. If you stick this piece on first and then add these 2 strips, you're golden. All right, so let me bring up back the other cards, and I'm going to show you a few more because like I said, went a little crazy with this suite. I really love it. So there are the 3 that we made today, but let me show you some more. So here is one. I'm thinking about maybe doing a reel on how to do this background, this sort of starry sky background. This is just cardstock that I've added some flicks of white craft ink on and done a little bit of ink blending. So I love this. Nighttime sky, you belong among the stars. Okay, and then wishing you joy in this next adventure. Here's a similar take, but this time I used DSP instead of that technique. So the DSP is quite simple, and this makes this card literally the only stamping on here is the sentiment. Super, super quick and easy. And then here's one for the BMXers out there. Again, all the work is the DSP and the die cuts. All I stamped is the sentiment. So quick and easy to make fantastic cards. Use just a little bit of the DSP on the inside, and actually this is a pocket to put a gift card in, so you could, you know, or tuck some money in if it's a graduation card. And then here is another take on that floral stamp, very pretty and feminine. So do you remember when I showed you the DSP that had these mountains and there was that middle section that was ombre? So I used that section and heat embossed in white the floral image, and then put it on the embossed, what's it called? Painted Posies embossing folder. And I just think it is so, so pretty. Again, a really pretty card for someone who's maybe going through a tough time, to let them know that you're there for them. All right. Oh, Jean, that's fantastic. Yes, that's a great idea. All right, ladies, thank you for spending part of your Valentine's Day with me. I hope you enjoyed these cards despite our technical difficulties, and I hope this recording all works, because I'm going to be really ticked if I can't upload it to YouTube. But hopefully it will show up on my YouTube channel later on this evening. If you want to rewatch or remake any of the cards, I will include all of the measurements so that you can create them to your heart's content. All right, have a great evening. Happy Valentine's Day, and I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.